Lesson 61, topic, message from the Space Brothers. Greetings. Dear brothers and sisters, I am Ivy23, a Pleiadian, and I speak on behalf of all the Space Brothers and sisters who are working together so that the spiritual evolution of the inhabitants of planet Earth may follow the path it should, so that we may save it as a living planet full of life, and so that it may be the source of a powerful spiritual awakening, thus saving life and improving the overall energy of the universe. I wanted to speak to you about the events that will take place in the near future and try to clarify what is happening in the present. I must say that the present is not at all clear for many of you. You are perceiving that there is much confusion, that there are many options available, and that there is some truth, but also much falsehood, and there are governments fighting to suppress the truth, and that there are others being oppressed by those in power to keep them silent. This is a summary of the current situation. Now let's clarify things further by providing more specific details. The current situation is as follows. As you know, in a previous lesson, I explained the origin of the events unfolding now. For many months, even years, we, the Space Brothers, grouped the Confederation of Space Brothers, have been in communication with Earth's governments and some other individuals so that our message may be known to all of you. That is our objective. The problem is that since we cannot force people to change their attitudes, the most powerful governments which oppose changing the current situation because they are greatly benefiting from it, do not want to deliver this message to humanity. They fear losing all the power they yield. And I will now provide more specific details. There are other governments, however, that are willing to provide the information, but the governments in power, and especially the shadow government of the planet, do not want this truth to be known. The governments that oppose the disclosure of all this information are the United States of America, Canada, because it is an ally of the United States, although its alliance is diminishing. The United Kingdom also has reasons for not wanting the message to be made public, because it has economic interest and doesn't want the current situation to change. In Germany, there is some fighting between the two sides. France is currently leading the no camp, but only slightly. The situation is going to change in Spain and Portugal, where the two sides are tied, but the yes vote is slightly in favor in the Iberian Peninsula. Great things for humanity will come from the Iberian Peninsula, and this will be the first step. In Italy, the yes vote is favorable. They agree that the message should be delivered. The countries that were aligned in the former Soviet Union, all the Eastern European countries, have a varied situation, but in general, the yes vote is favorable, though it depends on each country. It could be said that the yes vote could win in the heart of the Soviet Union, that is, in Russia. Clearly, Russia isn't putting much pressure on the message to be delivered. It also doesn't want the economic situation to change, because it would lose all the business it currently has going for it. The countries that oppose the no vote are opposed because they stand to lose all the benefits they currently enjoy due to the economic infrastructure. They stand to lose a great deal of money and therefore a great deal of power and the ability to exert pressure on other countries. I am referring to the fact that if this message were to reach humanity, the economy and the fundamental foundations of your civilization would collapse. The population would realize that everything is relative, that money isn't so important, that we must take care of the planet, that you are not the only inhabitants of the planet. There are other humanities, other species that visit it, and for all of them, the planet is important. Some are saying this. They are listening to our message, but the message needs to be more concrete, with physical proof that what the messages say is true. We want to do this through a series of sightings of unidentified flying objects very clearly and at the time and place we specify. This will strengthen the message. As you know, the deadlines we have planned won't be met. It all depends on what you all intend to do, especially the governments that are against delivering the message. We are waiting for the governments that are in favor to begin delivering the message, at least partially, to start providing information. We hope that will happen in the next 2 or 3 months. Some governments will get ahead of the curve and give glimpses of what they have to say. The rest of the governments that have full message within 15 days or a month will see several governments say unprecedented things that they haven't said before. Information will be leaked at first. It will seem like no one knows who leaked it, but later it will become clear that it came from various governments. These governments that will release information will be those in Southern Europe. There will also be some leaks from France. In the Americas, there will be leaks from Argentina, Bolivia, Venezuela, and Mexico. In Brazil, there will be a leak. At first, I repeat, you won't know where the leak is coming from, but after a short time, within a week or two, you will find out, or there will be a small revolution on the planet. The governments that currently hold power and that don't want to give the information to humanity are going to face a big problem. They will have to invent some stratagem to make people believe that this leaked information is false. They will try, and you will see strange maneuvers, a lot of misinformation, but within 2 weeks of the information being released, everything will be clear. They will react very quickly, creating false information. But I repeat, soon you will see the truth, where that information came from, and you will start to connect the dots. The governments that hold power right now and that don't want to give the world the information it came from are going to face a major problem. Another important aspect of the current situation is the disappearance of people happening worldwide. Some are disappearing of their own volition because they know what's coming and don't want to suffer the consequences of the harm that could be done to them. Some want to deliver the message they already have, which has been leaked through other channels, and want to share it with humanity, thus going against their government. Others have been eliminated because shadow governments and the governments of the countries themselves don't want this information to be known. And since the governments in this case are in favor of suppressing the message, especially in the countries I have mentioned earlier, and in other countries where there is some conflict between the two sides, many people who know the information are disappearing. I haven't mentioned Asia, but there are countries in Asia that also disagree with releasing the information. China, for example, is strongly against it. Japan is almost as much, all due to economic reasons and the need to maintain control over the population. The only countries in favor of releasing the information are the smaller Asian nations. In these countries, the situation is somewhat divided. It is far from clear. However, a no victory in these smaller countries doesn't seem so simple. Therefore, the leak is likely to originate primarily from the smaller Asian countries rather than the larger ones. If it does come from the larger countries, it will be from individuals that haven't been able to eliminate to prevent them from sharing the information. In fact, people who possess the information and want to deliver the message to humanity are disappearing. The following countries are included: United States, Mexico, Argentina, Algeria, France, United Kingdom, Germany, Poland, Romania, Greece, Russia, and in countries like Japan, they have managed to kill quite a few people. Most have fled because they know they will be eliminated. In China, many have been killed, and there's another group of people who have managed to hide in countries where there's a sympathy for the yes side. They're hiding, especially in countries where they know they will be welcomed with respect, knowing that their message will be positive for humanity. In other words, they are refugees in other countries where they know they won't be eliminated, and they are hiding so they can't be found and killed. In most of the countries I've mentioned, there have been few deaths because very few people know the message. Only in countries of certain size and where the communication of the information given by our space brothers, given by us, is so widespread that it has reached so many people that it's impossible to be kept a secret. That's only happened in some large countries. In small countries, information is known to be very few, which explains why deaths and disappearances of people with information have been very rare, at most 1 or 2 people. But in large countries where the concept of no is prevalent, many people have died and disappeared, and more will disappear because the eternal conflict is widespread. In Russia, which is also an important country where the no is quite strongly compared to the yes, especially because the ruling classes are closely linked to economic powers, many people have disappeared, many have been killed, more than 25. This will be known in time. Many others have also disappeared. At least 15 are in hiding. They have even changed their names. Many changed their names. Some are disguised so they cannot be found, and they are in remote places. The same thing is happening in China. Many people have died, at least 10, and 15 have disappeared of their own volition to avoid being eliminated. 7 or 8 have disappeared in Japan, and 6 have died there. They already knew they were going to kill him, and 20 have fled. The situation in southern Europe, especially in the Iberian Peninsula, is quite favorable to the yes vote, and many people know there's a message. They don't know the full message. It's only known to 2 or 3 people close to the envoys of the Space Brothers who communicate with the governments. It's just 2 or 3 people, and these 2 or 3 have contacted a few others, and the message is known to a few more, but only in fragments. They are waiting for the most opportune moment so they won't be eliminated when they want to deliver the message. So now let's turn to Italy. I want to give a brief overview of the current situation. The no vote has a very slight advantage over the yes vote, but in Italy, unlike in Spain or Portugal, the message is known by only 6 or 7 people. Among these 6 or 7 people, there are 1 or 2 who are willing to leak the message to more people, and this is also our hope, that in the end there will be many leaks, especially coming from the countries of Southern Europe, and from all the countries I mentioned earlier that are in favor of the yes vote. Although there may be a tie, the yes vote is clearly prevalent. Information will be exchanged between these countries, so pay close attention to what emerges in the countries I mentioned earlier that are in favor of the yes vote. Keep in mind that the countries where the no vote is clearly prevalent, for the reasons I have already given, will be easy to recognize when they start spreading lies. Their statements will contradict those of many other countries, and their information will align with that of all the countries in favor of the no vote, which you already know. When their information coincides, it will be clear. It will be easy to identify them. They are already in this phase of spreading lies, confusing humanity, and have been doing so for many years. The lies they tell are the same across all these countries, but now these lies will be exposed for what they are. People will see it clearly, and the revolution will begin. The political powers in these countries that are in favor of the no vote will be exposed for their bad faith in handling information. This information that humanity needs to know, and the people of these countries will act accordingly. Political power will be forced to make significant changes, which will diminish its authority. It will produce a small revolution in several countries, some larger, some smaller, but it will bring about change. Now let's give these changes a time frame. As I said before, we have been sending messages to the governments for many years, but only in the last year or 2, depending on the country, have we started providing information to many more people, not just the top brass of each government. We are giving information to many others, not just the political powers, but also the intellectuals, writers, researchers, scientists, people who are curious to know the concrete reality and who don't believe the version of events being painted by the political powers and the shadow government. We plan for the leaks to begin in 2 or 3 months. Some have already occurred, but they have gone unnoticed by many of you. However, in 2 or 3 months, there will be many more leaks. At first, the governments in power who don't want the truth to be known will confuse humanity and try to prevent it from coming to light. We have already explained how to tell if governments are creating confusion. The real revolution will begin when the source of the information is revealed. As I said before, this will be known within 2 or 3 weeks. Therefore, everything should start working within these 2 or 3 months. The entire process of providing information to humanity will begin in earnest within 2 or 3 months. The information you will receive will be confusing, but very interesting. It will test your intelligence to discern the truth. We want that as the information spreads in 2 or 3 months, despite the confusion, light and truth will always prevail over darkness. We will try to facilitate sightings of large ships. This doesn't depend solely on us. It depends on the planet's energy conditions and any dimensional rifts present at that time. We want the sightings to be of our largest ships, so people realize they aren't small objects, but rather large and of a good size, visible to many. We want the skeptics to see that these ships that will be seen are not made by you. They will be capable of movements that your flying ships can't even dream of. This phase of sightings could last 6 months. That is, once the messages begin, the sightings will last for at least 6 months in order to combat the confusion that will arise later. We want the message to become clearer, for more messages to appear, not only from governments but also from the contactees who are speaking with us and who have the ability to spread the message through your media outlets. This phase began a long time ago, but now it will be much more serious because we are going to give much more information that is important, much more verifiable by all of you, and this information will make many governments nervous. Those of you who want to give truthful information to your brothers and sisters will face serious survival problems. Those who hold power and don't want information to be disseminated will identify the source of the information that will truly harm them. They will at least try to silence you first. They will try to confuse you. That's always been their first plan. It has been for many years. If they can't confuse people with their information, the next step will be to silence you. Or if that's not possible, they will try to kidnap you and make you disappear, and ultimately kill you. If you are facing a grave danger, the shadow government is very afraid of this new situation that is coming, and the powerful governments behind the shadow government, those who obey it, are very afraid of the changes that this new consciousness can bring to humanity. It's clear they know they are going to lose their empire, their source of economic power, and their control over humanity. They don't want humanity to think and be free, to be aware of its place in the universe and what is really happening on the planet and in nearby space, to realize that they are not alone in the universe, that their decisions influence the other nearby planets and star systems. Planet Earth is important to all these visitors. It's a gateway to short and long distance journeys. Earth is also a very important place for an energetic point of view. As you know, there are many different types of bases on our planet. In the mountains, in orbit, there are also invisible bases at the bottom of the sea, in the middle of active volcanoes, at the bottom of very deep lakes, at the South Pole under the ice, at the North Pole under the seabed, and under the ice in various parts of the world. There are few other bases, but they are not very abundant in the great deserts of your planet and areas inaccessible to you, in forested areas where there is very little population, generally in areas where your population is very scarce. This is what we hope will happen, what we want to happen in the next 6 months. We want it to happen between 6 and 9 months. Then, as changes unfold and humanity's consciousness evolves, there will be major revolutions. In countries where political powers have acted wrongly, they will be recognized as such by the citizens. The people of these countries will hold their governments accountable. Many things will have to change. Many politicians will be replaced, and the planet will breathe again. There will be less hatred. The aura surrounding the planet will noticeably improve, appearing much bluer and whiter. People will be in a better mood, more willing to make changes in their lives, to accept the spiritual world. It will be a revolution. Anyone who refuses to embrace it is destined for destruction, to continue with old destructive habits, and to end their life in profound ignorance without knowing the truth. This will cause them great unhappiness in the long run. The few who approach the path with joy and faith, who know what they must do, who see reality as it is, and who accept the message from the Space Brothers and the leaks that will occur, will be able to change their lives productively. They will be happier and draw closer to the Father. They will build a community, change the planet, and give hope to those who have none, because they will see that everything can improve, and in fact, it will begin to improve. What happens next, we will know later. We have the means to know what may occur. Whether what we visualize comes to pass depends on your attitude. Through meditation, we access higher levels of reality, and thus we see what the possible futures are. We are in direct communication with the Father, as are all those who meditate at a deep level and are able to see the future and all the elements that coincide in your physical reality, their behavior, and their possible tendencies. Later, we will give you further lessons to inform you about the possible trends of what might happen in the future, more than 10 or 12 months from now. We also want to give you further lessons to inform you about the current situation, to be specific, so you can see that our message is not false, that we are telling you the truth. And I repeat, pay attention to the messages you will receive. They will try to confuse you. They will try to suppress the truth. They will try to prevent it from being communicated to people. But there will always be many leaks because people are fed up. They want to change and they want things to improve. We will soon share more information and we will tell you about the dates for the sightings, in which area they will take place and how they will be carried out. When we know what the energy conditions will be like in the near future, we'll know with more certainty. But we hope they improve soon. We will tell you more shortly. We will tell you soon, perhaps with a date for a sighting in another location. We have good places where we can do it. We believe that there will be good energy right now. We're not sure, so I can't say anything, but it is possible that Brazil, specifically northern Brazil, will be one of the areas. The border area between Venezuela, Brazil, and Colombia, something big will be seen throughout North and South America. I think the energy conditions are good. Don't take my word for it, but I believe the estimates of the energy changes that will occur of the dimensional portals are favorable. In subsequent lessons that we will give you very soon, we will update the information. So, until soon, goodbye, brothers and sisters, and thank you very much for listening.